Hey everyone, today I'm going to air layer a lychee tree and I'm doing this for a viewer who want to get one. So I'm using some rooting hormone, a good knife, some sphagnum moss and some alcohol to sanitize my tools just to make sure that there is not gonna be any bad pathogen introduced to that wand on the tree. So I have to get some leaves off so I can see what I'm doing. This is gonna be a very beautiful one to do it. It's big. It's gonna be like a little tree already. So I just take up some leaves and then I decide where I'm gonna do my air layer. And when I decided, I cut around the bark parallel. I cut one side and the other. You can see it here. So I want to remove that area, the bark and the cambium layer. You always want to make sure that this is a clean cut and even, parallel. You will see I'm gonna cut another in a moment. And just like that, cut it around, clean cut. And then next, if I do this at springtime, I just cut a long cut between the two. Yeah, just make sure that you're not going further. And then I have to remove the bark and the cambium layer. And after that, sometimes it comes off easier, like early morning hours and springtime. It comes off a lot easier, slips off from the tree, but this was kind of a little sticking to it, so I have to do it a bit slower than normal, but that's not gonna affect the result. You want to do air layering when there is no cold temperature, so it will be a better success. Sometimes when it's still cold nights and it's not the best time. Your best bet is early spring when the temperature already above 60 Fahrenheit. Although I did air layer lychee basically throughout the year, winter, spring, whenever I decided that I want to air layer, I air layer, and it always turned out good. But for higher success, you better off to do it at the right time. Although I have to admit, not to brag or anything that, but it always rooted the earlier what I'm doing with the lychee. Not with all of it. For example, I tried sapodilla. One of my friend got a really good variety of sapodilla or brown sugar fruit, chico. There's so many other names to that fruit, and I really want to grow this variety. Is butterscotch sapodilla, and I tried to air layer it, and that one for some reason it didn't take. So I don't know if it was too early, maybe it was still cooler nights, or not sure what happened. It did not work out. Lychees, on the other hand, always lychees is very easy to air layer, I think. So when you take off the bark and the cambium layer, the softer layer, and then you get to the harder part, you want to be careful so you don't hurt that area too much. You can scratch it off a little bit from the hormone, so the root can form easier. So yeah, that takes a little time, but I rather take my time than get into where I'm not supposed to be in, because you have to have clean cuts. It's better that way. So you see, I scratch it here a little bit, and just to take off that hormone. And now I will use the rooting hormone, some sphagnum moss. I soak it in water and I make sure I squeeze it good so there is not a whole lot of water, but there is still a moist, but it's not like very, like, water is not gonna drip out of it, because then I can rot the branch instead of just growing it out, the roots. So that's one thing, you know, you don't want to drip water out of it. You want to kind of squeeze it out, let some water also, like, let it have it moist. That's perfect. And then I use the aluminum foil. Aluminum foil is so easy to work with, and it's so cheap too. Now I used a little bit of rooting hormone on the sphagnum moss. You can use it around the tree as well, where you have the cutting, but for me I think it's easier and less wasteful. So I like to use it this way. It's easier to put around the cut. You can have a smaller cut, like you can have half of that cut, but I decided to do it this way. Normally I do this way. On the lychees, they're so very, very easy to do. You just have to take the time, and you have to have all the necessary force to do it. So yeah, I just make sure that I put it around the tree firmly, but not way too tight, but tight enough that
That's how you make a burrito.
water is not gonna not gonna collect around the bark, and so I just want to make sure of that. I want to keep in the moisture, but I don't want too much moisture. And for example, this day, like you see, it's raining, so if I let it open, when it's sunny, it's gonna dry out. When it rains, it's gonna get too much moisture. So I want to just keep in the moisture that I had in the sphagnum moss. So that. It's done, and now it's the result after good couple of months. I forget about it. I think it's more like the 4th month probably by now. Yeah, perfect. Very good. I have to clean this one out from the ends, but look at the roots. Now I just cut it down and I can plant it. Thanks for watching. This one is ready to be picked up this weekend. So see you guys later. Definitely worth air layering. Bye everyone. Good luck with all your air layers.